It's an AFC North Division battle week. Ravens coming to Cleveland to take on the Browns. I head to Baltimore. We'll talk to Melissa Kim from the Ravens broadcast team, best bets, as well as fantasy football talk. Get you ready for NFL Week 15 right now on the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. The sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Cut back by Chubb. He's to the 10. He's still running to the 5. He dips outside left. He's going in. Touchdown. What a run. Nick Chubb.
It's going to be sick.
All right, everybody. Hey, it's Ravens week. It's Ravens week, people. You ready? I got my vintage 1980 Cardiac Kids Brian Sipe jersey. That's number 17 there. Now, I haven't had it since 1980, before I was born, but I bought it. And the reason is the Browns are, well, some teams have, big throwback helmets or jerseys. The Browns are trying to make a big deal out of, hey, we got our white face masks back. So I guess that's exciting, but I thought, you know what? In honor of them throwing it back to those old white face mask days where there were some good times, I'm wearing my Brian Sipe 1980 Cardiac Kids. Let's see if the Browns can pull one out here. We'll get to my 3 downs to victory for the Browns. Fantasy football playoffs, people. Hashtag Ask Andy. You can get your questions in at AndyMC81, at SickPodBrowns on Twitter, on Instagram as well, at AndyMC Sports. Click notification, click subscribe. Got some prize details coming up for you a little bit later on in the show as well. But let's kick it off and go down to Baltimore. Studio host and analyst for the Ravens broadcast team, Melissa Kim. Melissa, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you, Andy? Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it. And look, this is always, no matter what the records are, no matter what time of year, these are always big division games. And of course, the Ravens are right in it. And Melissa, they're doing it in interesting ways. We're not seeing 30, 40-point games. They're 16 points, 10, 13. They're doing whatever it takes to get a W.
Yeah, they've been they've been a lot of defensive slugfests, we'll call them, in these last few weeks, which is something that we haven't typically seen in the last couple of seasons for this team. But, the Ravens defense, obviously, they're such a signature of this franchise. Obviously, you think back to the Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis days. We're kind of seeing a resurgence of that here with how good the defense has been in these last couple of weeks.
Well, how big has the addition of Roquan Smith been? Because that's just seemed to be that, flip the switch. You got that big dude in there, and the defense was already doing well, but that seemed to take it to a whole different level.
Oh, Roquan has, I know you don't want to say one guy makes a whole difference for the entire defense, but he really has. And actually, I sat down with him one-on-one this week for his first ever sit-down interview here in Baltimore. And he's just such a great human being. You meet certain guys in the league and you're just wow, you're just how are you so good? Where does this come from? And for him, he said, I'm from Macon County, Georgia, a town of 3,000. We have no stoplights. He came from really humble beginnings. And so I think that really played a part into his upbringing about having opportunities and really taking advantage of them. He told me he was lucky. He was very lucky to be in this situation. I was like, dude, you're balling out there. I mean, the effort obviously is there. The skill set is obviously there. And there's no doubt that he's made such an immediate impact on the field and off the field here too. You think about how much better Patrick Queen is playing with him, right? I think that has been such a key factor, especially in that middle, inside linebacker spot. I mean, he's just made him so much better, and you see this duo just getting after the quarterback, in the last game or two, and he's led the team in tackles as well in these last couple of weeks as well. He's made such a big impact at only 25 years old and already taking a leadership role for this team. It's been really cool to watch.
Yeah, you almost forget that he is 25. It seems just he's been around longer, and he's that young veteran. He's really probably not even in his prime or just at that beginning of his prime, which is scary. And you mentioned bringing it in with Patrick Queen. And this is what I think a lot of Browns fans were hoping their defense would be. And that's big, physical AFC North football, where the Browns went a different strategy of going smaller, quicker to help contain guys like Lamar Jackson. But now teams can run at him. And when we talk about the run, J.K. Dobbins back, and Gus Edwards, and we know he's a bowling ball. And it seems like against the Browns this year, it's just been, you can go right up the middle and just keep doing that, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, JK not even back to 100% yet. You look at what he did last week. He had one touchdown in the game, but he had a 44-yard run before that where he said if he was 100%, he would have definitely scored on that touchdown. But he said he's still getting back to his speed in terms of his strength and stuff like that. Not at 100 just yet, but he says he will be very, very soon. And he's that kind of guy that really gets those, like you said, bowling ball kind of like bursts of energy, like right down the field. And I think that is so key for him. And then you get a guy like Gus Edwards, who really I feel like is more beneficial maybe on a third down back situation when you need those couple of extra yards. I mean, this guy's a truck. Like, he just is so low to the ground. He's so strong. And he really does benefit from getting those couple extra yards when they need them to get those first downs. And I think that has been super key for this offense.
And for J.K. Dobbins, coming out of Ohio State, a lot of fans of the show follow J.K. Dobbins and knew him. To me, it almost seems, and he hasn't necessarily had this chance in the NFL because he's been plagued by injuries, he almost gets better as the game goes on. The more touches, the more feel. He can catch, he can run, but he needs to get into that bit of a rhythm. And boy, this time of the year, week 15, if you can get J.K. Dobbins with healthy legs, and like you said, not even 100% back with the Gus Edwards combo, that takes a lot of pressure off of this injured quarterback position too, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does, especially because the Ravens typically with Lamar Jackson, who's not going to play this Saturday. I think we all know that now. And Tyler Huntley, who are so similar in the fact that they are those mobile, running quarterbacks. But having, the 1-2 punch of J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards is so helpful in that, like you just said. And to J.K.'s credit, the first time that he got injured, was coming out from injury this past year, he was definitely a little frustrated. I talked to him along the locker room and he was like, learning to be patient is so hard. But the second time around, he had the second knee surgery to get some of it's called the scope, whatever, to get some of the extra stuff out of there. He said this time around, he learned his lesson the first time about being patient. He's like, I'm so much more patient this time. I know it's a process. I know I have to trust it. And so, like you said, if you followed him in college, it's got to be kind of frustrating to see him not be able to kind of get his JK 2K Dobbins, year at all. But I think it's definitely coming. He's definitely had the unfortunate streak of injuries. But the great news is that when he comes back from injuries, he seems to be just as good as he was before. Because I know that's a fear for a lot of guys, physically and mentally, emotionally. Like, am I going to be the same guy when I come back from injury that I was before? And for him, it seems like he is so far.
Well, we've seen guys like Cam Akers who have struggled with that. Different injury, but, similar
Still,
situation.
It's hard, yeah.
It is. In conversation with Melissa Y. Kim, host and analyst in the studio for the Ravens broadcast team. All right, let's talk quarterback. So Lamar Jackson, you said, is out. So Tyler Huntley has cleared concussion protocol officially. He's the guy this Saturday.
Correct. So there was definitely a little bit of, we were trying to kind of decipher all the lingo yesterday when we talked to him at practice. And so he said he had some final tests. Let's see, today's Friday. It's on Wednesday night. And so that means Thursday morning, he was cleared from concussion protocol. So he is good to go as far as we know. Lamar Jackson obviously said has been ruled out. There is just in case as well, Anthony Brown, and also the team picked up Brett Hundley, formerly who I covered back in the day when he was with the Packers. He actually was the backup for Aaron Rodgers when he broke his collarbone in 2017. So he's kind of been around the gamut a little bit as well. Hundley was with this team last year too, kind of as that backup third or fourth quarterback. So they'll be okay. The thing is Tyler Huntley is so similar to Lamar Jackson in the sense that Greg Roman doesn't really have to change a whole lot in the offensive playbook. Anthony Brown has a little bit of a different quarterback. I think he is a little bit more of a throwing quarterback as opposed to more of a mobile one like Lamar and Tyler are. But, Tyler has had his fair share of experience now when you think about it. Last year, obviously, and then starting this last game and coming in the game before that. So I think that he certainly, the more he plays, obviously, the more confidence that he gets. And you could definitely see that in his body language at practice and kind of how he commands the offense as well.
Yeah, it is a bit different because he has, like you said, had that experience in there, and there is some tape on him. What did the Ravens feel, and that can be fan base internally that you're hearing, about Deshaun Watson playing? This is game 3, and we saw game 1 terrible, but they beat Houston. Game 2, they only scored 10 points, but he looked better, whatever that means. What are the expectations on Deshaun Watson? Because clearly he's not back to his 2020 form yet.
Well, we talked to a lot of guys on defense this week about that. Marlon Humphrey said, no matter what, he is still a guy that was balling, just a couple years ago. So you can't put anything past that, right? You think that he said he's still the same guy. Roquan said the same thing. He's still the same talented quarterback that they saw when he was playing with the Texans. And obviously it's difficult a little bit to watch film on a guy that you haven't seen in a couple of years, right? Like what has changed, whatnot. But they're definitely still expecting Deshaun Watson to be as good as he was a couple of years ago. So they're definitely preparing for that to be the case.
So another division run for the Ravens, but let's put it to what the Browns can do. If they do XYZ, they can beat Baltimore in Cleveland this weekend. What do you think they have to do?
They got to stop the run. Yeah. I think that comes down to that. This team has really shown that they have the resurgence of the run game down now, especially having those, two backs back with the team. Tyler Huntley will be starting. The O-line has played really, really well in these last 2 weeks as well. That was one of the things that a lot of the guys on the O-line and the running backs talked about this week, is that when the other team knows that you're going to run the ball and they're still able to run the ball despite, they already know it's going to happen, that is a true credit to the offensive line. Yeah. And so I think that they've played really well. Ronnie Stanley will obviously, if he's going to play this week, as well. He's kind of been in and out a little bit. We're nursing his ankle injury again. But, I mean, there's no doubt that this offensive line is so much better with Ronnie Stanley at left tackle on it. I mean, he looks like he is back to, when he's on the field, he's back to his old all-pro self from 2019 when he is on the field. So I think stopping the run is going to be very, very key for anybody that wants to beat the Ravens this season.
Right. And that's, for this Browns team, easier said than done with the, I'll say lack of talent, let's be honest, at defensive tackle, smaller linebacker. So they're going to have to try to get creative and try to stop that. Now on the Browns side, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, we've seen that running game really get dialed back, maybe abandoning the run too early by head coach Kevin Stefanski, and teams really saying, essentially, we're going to load up, sell out to stop the run, beat us with the pass. And, well, we saw last week the Browns couldn't do that.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think that a lot of the guys here are still looking at Nick Chubb. You know what I mean? Like Roquan, again, because I talked to him at length this week. He and Nick Chubb, they went to Georgia together. And the one thing he talked about Nick Chubb so much was that the guy puts in the work and it shows on the field. And so he said that he is, no matter what has happened the last couple of weeks or what is going on, he said that he is expecting to see a lot of Nick Chubb on the field.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And you have to try to do that if you're the Browns and the Ravens. And we saw, again, Ravens not afraid to do whatever it takes to win. No style points, low scoring, whatever it might be. How do you think this one plays out on Saturday?
I think that especially with a lot of the guys that have come back from injury for the Ravens, again, a kind of a repeat of last week, maybe when they played the Steelers, I do expect a big run game. I do expect, some big numbers on the ground for the Ravens. I'm not a big score prediction kind of person, but I do think that the Ravens will win this one. No offense.
We hope you're wrong, Melissa, but look, they're rolling, they're humming, and again, they're so well coached. Drives me nuts. They'll do whatever it takes. Browns have not been able to do whatever it takes to win. They want to be fancy and outthink people. Harbaugh's fine kicking field goals because you got the best kicker.
Oh yeah, ever. I mean, they will kick field goals all day on this team. They do not care if it's a 9-0 score at halftime, and it's all Justin Tucker. Yeah, it all is same in the win column. Doesn't matter. No style points. Exactly. Melissa, thank you so much tell people now. I would say I would wager that not a whole lot of people are going to be watching for Ravens content watching this show, but you do great work. We love your content. Where can people find you? You can find me at Melissa Y. Kim on Twitter and on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
There she goes, Melissa Kim, studio host and analyst for the Ravens broadcast. So there you go, folks, getting some insight. Boy, that Roquan Smith. Oh, see, that's what drives me nuts. The guy was out there. The deal was there to be made. So where the Browns get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who I do like, and I do think there is a place for it, but you cannot be all small. And we're seeing that play out because teams are running it up the gut, down your throat. Do you not think that John Harbaugh is going to do that all day? Like I just said, he doesn't care. Kevin Stefanski and the group, they want, let's bring in Jacoby Brissett. Let's outthink. Let's be smarter than everybody. No, win games is how you're smarter than people. The worst thing is that the Ravens and the Steelers are so much better coached than this Browns team. Drives me crazy. But it's true. We got to admit it. they will do, and Harbaugh whines. Oh, that whiny Harbaugh face, but it works. You can hate it, but you got to respect it. Bottom line. Bottom line. So are the Browns in a mode where they're going to try to give their fans something to cheer about, something to be a little bit happy about, try to take down your division rival, who, to Stefanski and this Browns team's credit, they have played tough. They play all their division rivals tough. And they should have beat the Ravens, like with a few other games, earlier in the year. But what happens? That one lack of adjustment, those self-inflicted errors that the Browns continue to do, that's what costs them. And the Ravens don't make those. So if you're Kevin Stefanski and you're in a position like last week where it was 0-0 and you could have kicked the field goal against the Bengals and decided to go for a touchdown, obviously touchdowns are preferred. Yeah. But you take the points against the team. Again, people, okay? Last 3 wins for the Baltimore Ravens. 16 points, 10 points, 13 points. 16, 10, 13. That's not anybody trying to be cute. That's kicking field goals. That's tough defense. That's clock management. That's running the ball. I honestly don't know how the Browns are stopping Gus Edwards and up the middle. You got to get creative, Joe Woods. And at a point, it's kind of like, okay, it's kind of hope. It's kind of, okay, can they do it? What was damning, I don't know if anybody heard the defensive backs coach of the Browns. Guy doesn't do a lot of media scrums, but he essentially said that they didn't know how to adjust, I'm paraphrasing, when T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd went out for the Bengals last week. So you lose 2 of your best players. They didn't know how to adjust and double team Jamar Chase. Gross. Gross. Why? You can't adjust, double them up. How do you not make those adjustments? Is that analytics preventing you from being creative? Is that analytics from preventing you from changing on the fly? Or is that poor preparation? Is that poor coaching? I don't know. Either way, resulted in a Browns loss. Okay, I want to get to my 3 downs to victory for the Browns. And stopping the run is a part of it. But first down, offensive line and Watson must get on the same page. And I want to read this bit to you from Joel Bitonio, who in his press conference. So this is from Joel Bitonio, I think future Hall of Famer, but Pro Bowl guard for the Browns. He said, quote, "We got called for holding a couple times last week when we scrambled. We just have to know that the play can go on forever with Deshaun Watson. It's really a feel thing. You see some guys, some of the best plays in football are when guys like Deshaun and Mahomes and these guys get out of the pocket and throw deep passes. We understand it's part of the game. We just have to adjust ourselves to where if this happens, just let go. Unfortunately, you have to live with some holding calls because that's the nature of the beast." That's from Joel Bitonio. And that's what really needs to improve quick. Because this again comes down to adjustments. This comes down to adapting to a new quarterback on the fly and really using this as an extended training camp in season when you could have been in the division race. So that's number 1. Do we see improvement from that? Still while keeping in mind that you're on your 4th string center. And I think Froholt's done as good a job as you can expect a 4th string center from a guy who's not even a center do. Bad teams let injuries get to them. Bad teams have people, remember that 2020 year when the Browns went to the playoffs? Not as many guys getting injured or playing through injuries. They hurt a little more in the cold when that happens. That's the difficult part. That's the really difficult part of it. So that's first down. Get on the same page. Offensive line, Watson, have to sync up, have to be smarter with those calls. And the officials were hot garbage last week across the league. Way too many flags. Just kills any vibe. Second down. Browns defense needs to sell out to slow down the run. Just like Melissa said, right? You got J.K. Dobbins, you got Gus Edwards, and Tyler Huntley can move as well. I actually think he passes the ball a little bit better than Lamar Jackson personally. Just not as pure speed or elusive as Jack. But he can go. Browns have some tape on him. You played against him before. Not unbeatable by any stretch. But if the Ravens are smart, and they are well coached, is they will just run it at the Browns. Right up the middle. So what is Joe Woods going to do? Is He going to move Jadeveon Clowney inside? Can they contain outside otherwise? Are there different options that way? That's a big question. But you have to force Tyler Huntley to beat you with your arm. If they stop the run as much as possible, you hold those guys out of the end zone, and Tyler Huntley beats you on some passes to Mark Andrews, I can live with that. I won't like it, but I can live with it. I can't live with having Gus Edwards go for like 2 touchdowns and J.K. Dobbins going over 100 yards, which is very realistic. Very realistic. Got to sell out to stop the run in some way, and you don't have the personnel to do it, which is the trouble. JOK, by the way, he's out. So now you're down another linebacker, right? Injury update as well on Amari Cooper. Off the injury report, but Stefanski was saying his hip and core muscle injury still bothering him, but he's going to play through it. So good news, having Amari Cooper on the field. Excellent. 3rd down. And it's 3 words. Take the points. Take the points, Stefanski. Take the points. Just like last week in Baltimore, or in Cincinnati, just like all year. And especially in this game where they will kick field goal you to death, the Ravens will, because you have Justin Tucker, who's the swaggiest kicker, rightfully so, maybe ever. That dude can hit it unconscious from 60, not even blink. You get it to the 45, it's done, and they're getting 3 points. John Harbaugh, former special teams coordinator way back, right? Special teams, stellar. Defense, stellar. And they can run. Receivers, not great. Fantasy football-wise, JK, you know what? You could probably, DFS contest, you could probably stack J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, to be honest, with how the Browns defense has been. But other than that, I don't want any part of any of the receivers. They're going to run it on you. You know they're going to run it on you. So for Stefanski, you got to take those points. 3-0 lead after the first quarter, crucial. Because if they're going to try to field goal you to death, that's what you need to do. Take the points. Take the points. Does he learn? Does he have the collaboration to do that? We're going to find out. We're going to see if that's the case. Those are my 3 downs for victory. I want to know what your 3 downs to victory are for the Browns this week. And got a question out there on Twitter for you guys. You can hit me up there at AndyMC81, at SickPodBrowns, Instagram at AndyMCSports. What do you want most out of this Ravens game in Cleveland? Because although there's a 0.4% chance of the Browns making the playoffs, and God bless Myles Garrett, he said, well, as long as we're still alive, we can. Good, absolutely. And you got to get Myles Garrett going. What do you want most out of this game, though? A win no matter what. Just get the W. Make us feel good going into the holiday. Just get the win. 2, more Deshaun Watson development. Or 3, multiple Myles Garrett sacks. He's right in that mix for the sack leader. He can get a couple on Saturday. He's going to be able to jump right up there. Right there. He's close. So what is the most important? What do you want most? Win no matter what. More Deshaun Watson development. Or multiple Myles Garrett sacks. You can leave it in the comment section here as well. For me, as much as I would like Myles to get his stats, as much as I would like to see Deshaun Watson win, I got to have a win. I want to have the Victory Monday mug. We just need a win. Get a win in front of the home crowd. And hopefully all those other things lead up to that. I want to win no matter what. I want a victory no matter what. Because I can't stand the Ravens fans on social media. And there's bad Browns ones too from every league. The Ravens one, just terrible. They're arrogant. And you know why I hate the Ravens most, guys? This is a question all over. Which rival do you hate the most? Dislike the most. People say dislike. I hate. Okay. Ravens, Steelers, Bengals. Bengals, don't want the Bengals to do well, but look at Cousins. You know, Paul Brown founded both of them. Can't stand the Steelers. They're pea yellow colors. They're stupid towels. But I hate the Ravens most because those 2 Super Bowls they got are mine. They're yours, Browns fans. That's our team. That's the original Browns. That rat, Art Modell, who I hope is spinning in the 8th layer of hell, stole that team and put it in Baltimore. And those are my 2 Super Bowls. Those are your 2 Super Bowls. They stole it. And that's why I can't stand the Ravens. And I want to win no matter what. I want that victory no matter what. I don't care if it's 3-0 or 50-45. I want that win. And the Ravens have had the Browns number. They've had the Browns number. Right? They've had it all since existence. Right? Since they came in, since they moved over, they've had it. So yeah, I want to hear from you guys though. What is most important to you? Is it to see Deshaun Watson develop and get better? Like, hopefully that happens. Stefanski's job better is banking on it. He's got to show he can work and be progressing Deshaun Watson. You got to be finishing on a high note. If you don't, bad news. Real bad. Okay? So let's see. Saturday, 4:30 game, of course. Make sure for your fantasy football playoffs, you're getting your lineup set, right? How about that Brock Purdy Thursday night with 49ers? Old Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, last pick of the draft. How about that? And we're struggling with Deshaun Watson. What it is to be a Browns fan, people. Okay, let's get some fantasy football talk and answer your questions and Ask Andy. Okay, and hey, like I said, fantasy football playoffs, you guys were humming this week with questions in DFS. You can get those in as well. Anything else? Hey, put it in the comment section. Get us on Twitter at AndyMC81, on Instagram at AndyMCSports. Follow the show at SickPod Browns, and make sure you click the notification bell, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get to the first three. Let's pop it up. All right. From R. Rodriguez. Start 2, Hopkins, Walker, and Pacheco. Normally this would be a no-brainer, but that KC Houston matchup is tempting as hell. Hashtag Ask Andy. So Walker last night, of course, so that's out, and hopefully, you know, the Kenneth Walker thing, I like the play. Didn't quite work out. Seattle, come on, man. Just like the Jets and Giants. Maybe giving Geno Smith, maybe Geno Smith commanding that mega deal. Maybe you should pause on that if you're the Seahawks. But I do like Pacheco against Houston. I think very easily. KC gets up, run Pacheco. Boom, you're done. I think that works well. All right, let's get to another one. Okay, Kittle, Hawkinson, Pittman. I can flex a tight end, full PPR. Who do I bench? Dameon Pierce going down sucks. Hashtag Ask Andy. That's from at John Miller 9393. So Kittle last night, knock him out. Hawkinson, Pittman. Flex a tight end or full PPR. Yeah, you know what? I really like Hawkinson. I love what Hawkinson's doing overall with that Minnesota team since coming over in that trade. Takes pressure off of Justin Jefferson, who's back to being just a rock star. And Hawkinson's right there. And we know the pickings are slim when it comes to tight ends. So I think you go with Hawkinson there. Now, a couple other options I mentioned in Thursday's show that you might want to look to pick up, still widely available. DJ Chark for the Lions. Okay. Earlier in the week was just 41% rostered. See if he's there. Everyone's talking about Amon St. Brown, Jameson Williams, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. DJ Chark, 90 receiving yards, 2 weeks in a row, 2 touchdowns in his last 3 games. That's a nice play as well if you're just looking for a general pickup. Okay. All right, let's get to the next one. And hashtag Ask Andy. This from @Hogue_J. Waddle or Kirk? Hashtag Ask Andy. Well, here's the tricky thing. When I want to say Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Waddle all year has been tremendous, except for the past chunk of weeks where he's been single digit. You couple that with it being Saturday night football in what is lining up to be terrible weather in Buffalo. Cold, snow, not great. Tua's not a cold weather quarterback, and he has come right down to earth as well. We say Seattle. How about Miami getting very ordinary as well? So I think you go with Christian Kirk. Now, him and Zay Jones for the Jaguars have been splitting that target share. And Zay Jones, actually, man, if you got a chance to get Zay Jones, he's still available in about 40% of most leagues. He's commanding like 10, 12 targets, but Christian Kirk has been that guy too. So I think when you look at it and you say, okay, if you have to pick between the two, I'm going to say versus the Cowboys, really good defense, of course, for Dallas, but he's going to be looking his way is Trevor Lawrence. And if Dallas gets up, you can always have those garbage time yards. So let's go with Christian Kirk. All right, next one. All right, this is from @BradGC66. Dobbins, Knight, and Connor. Okay, so I guess we're picking between one of those. I love Zonovan Knight. I do. James Conner for Arizona has been. Now, we have to remember, for the Arizona Cardinals, I'm just going to pull up Connor's stats here. You're without Kyler Murray. You're going to be having Colt McCoy. You're playing Denver, giving up the 14th fewest fantasy points this season, 2 running backs. But man, James Conner's been a stud. I'm leaning, if I have to pick one, I'm going to say we're going to go with James Conner. Okay? The carries are there, the touches are there. J.K. Dobbins, and I hesitate because J.K. Dobbins very close to be in there. But you still have Gus Edwards and you still have Huntley who can run. I would not be surprised. I think you're in good shape if you go with Conner or Dobbins. But Dobbins not 100%. Conner feeling good right now, even in Denver. Good defense, but not unbeatable. And middle of the road. I think that's a good play. Let's see. Do we have any more tweets on there? Let's see. Do we got any more? Oh, there we go. All right. Noah Lieberman 99. Half PPR. I have to play 2 of the following: Gabe Davis, George Pickens, Zay Jones, Damian Harris, Cam Akers, Gus Edwards. So Gus Edwards, check. Goal line work. If they're in, he's punching it in. I think that's a gimme. Gabe Davis, no. He hasn't been producing at all for about the last month, and cold weather game with weather. Not that Josh Allen can't sling it, but I'm not buying that. George Pickens, no, with the quarterback play. Zay Jones, I'm almost there. Cam Akers, no. Damian Harris still has the Q beside his name. If he bounces back, if it shows, because Ramondre Stevenson, remember, is out. So and they have till they're playing Sunday, yes. So we have a little extra time because we got the Saturday and Sunday games, no teams on bye. I think we look at that with Damian Harris and say, okay, where you're playing the Raiders stink. How are the Raiders 1-point favorite? I'll get to that in my sick picks in a moment. But Damian Harris, if healthy, is going to get the workload. If he doesn't go, then you got to stay away from him. So I'm saying you go Gus Edwards, and I do like Zay Jones. The volume's there, guys, right? The volume's there for Zay Jones, okay? 10 or more targets in 3 of his last 4. That's a huge target share. It's just really, really good. And then, like I said, Gus Edwards is going to be there. Okay, I got a couple more fantasy questions here I'm going to pop in here. Great work, guys, too. Anything else comes in as far as your questions, if you watch the show, put them in the comments section. Get me on Twitter @AndyMC81. Use hashtag AskAndy @SickPodBrowns. Got from our guy Pedro in Calgary on Twitter. 2 QB non-PPR league. Huntley, Mac Jones, Heineke. Who should I start? You ain't starting Mac Jones, baby. Mac Jones is the most ordinary quarterback, and I knew it coming out of the draft, you'll ever see. You can find a Mac Jones skill set in the 3rd and 4th round in every draft. There's nothing special about the guy. Now, Huntley has the leg option. So I think he's going to play off against the Browns. Hate to put that against the Browns, but Huntley can move. And Heineke, that dude's just a baller. He doesn't care. Heineke doesn't care. He's consistently getting you between 17, 20 fantasy points. Go at him. If you got to start 2, Huntley and Heineke in that order. No Mac Jones. And let's see. From @Jeremy Hendricks with 3 X's. Let's see. Who do I start, Tua or Mike White? Great question, Jeremy. Mike White out. We were wondering. It looked like yesterday it was that the ribs are fine. Ribs are going to be okay. Today, he's out. You had Zach Wilson in. That's a big problem. That's a big problem for Garrett Wilson. And that's a problem for everybody. I would still say okay with Zonovan Knight, but man, Zach Wilson, nothing. Again, a guy who's nothing special. He's flashed at times, but this guy, he's earned his way back. I like how the Jets are doing business there. They're saying, you're not doing what we want you to do. Your 3rd string worked his way back up to backup. You're playing the Lions. Could be a bit of a shootout situation, but Mike White out. So you obviously have to go in that. You got to go with Tua. I don't like the Tua situation either because it's in Buffalo. I think it's going to be a bad day there. I think it's not going to be a great day for Tua. So, do you go with somebody like an upside matchup for like a Matt Ryan with the Colts? Matt Ryan has flashed very sporadically. I'm honestly a bit tempted to see what Matt Ryan. Do you go Bake Show? Do you go Baker Mayfield? Monday night? See if he can run it back against the Packers? That's dicey. That's a bit dicey. So out of that case, if you have to do it, I guess you go with Tua. Okay, that's really about it. Okay, I want to get to my sick picks. Let's earn some money. Let's go.
It's time for Sick Picks.
All right, everybody, here we go. And by the way, Betfred Sportsbook, guys, it's coming to Ohio. Browns fans, Ohio. If you're a resident, if you're in the state, the beautiful state of Ohio, the Buckeye State, January 1st is right here. It's the middle of December right now. It's almost here. So what do? Well, you got to register with our guys at Betfred Sportsbook. Now, check this out. I've been telling you, there was tickets giveaway if you registered with my link to the Bengals and Browns game last week. They got exclusive bonuses. Here's the latest one. And the link is in the description. Now, I had to use that you go to Bitly or whatever the shortening of links is, because this one was too long, so I can't really type it. It was like Betfred. But anyway, it's going to be on my social media. Going to be at AndyMC81. Going to be on Instagram at AndyMCSports and at SickPodBrowns. But the link is right in there. So click on it. And here's the latest bonus. Exclusive bonuses all over the place. Here's the latest one. Pre-register now with the link. And you get $1,111. Details and conditions at the link when you click it. That's a heck of a bonus. That's a heck of a bonus, ain't it? So go there. And weekly prizes, weekly draws is perfect. Just Betfred Sports is the place to be. You just click on that link, register, takes you no time at all. You get your deposit in, you get that bonus. Let's go. Let me know if you do want to hear from you. All right, some sick picks here. I'm looking at Vikings and Colts, and the Vikings, boy, did they bite me last week. How do you lose to the Lions? The Lions are buzzing. They're humming. The Vikings, 3.5-point favorites. Matt Ryan. He's kind of slinking around a little bit. Over-under set at 47.5. I'm going to take the under at -115. And I'm going to take the Colts to cover. Minnesota I don't like it. I don't like it. They're in a rut. They're not feeling it. -110. I'm going to take for the Buffalo-Miami game, over-under 44 points. I'm taking the under at -105 because of the weather. Could be a ground and pound game, and especially for the Dolphins. I don't see them scoring that much. Now, 14 points for the Chiefs versus the Texans. All those double-digit ones. But for the Chiefs, even though the Texans were gamers against the Cowboys the other week, I think you got to take it at -110. And this is interesting to me. Lions, Jets. Lions 1-point favorites. Okay? Now, I don't believe the lines have been adjusted yet since that Zach Wilson news. Or maybe they won't be. But you got to say Lions after what they've done. And, of course, this is probably the week that the Jets go bonkers and go for it. Both well-coached teams. You get, for the Lions, -115 for a money line straight up, -110, so better payout if you take them to essentially cover 1 point. So just to pretty much straight up win. If you believe in the Lions, you can double dip and do that one. Raiders are 1.5-point favorites against the Patriots. Are we going to bank on the Raiders to do anything? Really? I'm not. They just like, how can you have any faith in Josh McDaniels? Patriots, that's going to be my smash pick. Smash of the week. Patriots, 1.5-point underdogs, road dogs. -115 to cover, -105 to win outright. Just do the money line on that one. I think that's the best play there. Just take that down. That's beautiful. All right, folks. So there you go. Okay, betfredsports.com. Get that bonus. Over $1,000 in exclusive bonus money. Check out how you can do it. Quickly register. Quick to deposit. You go to the link in this show right here in the show description and on social media at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, Instagram at AndyMCSports. Let me know too. What do you want most out of this game? for the Browns hosting the Baltimore Ravens. What do you want most? Browns to win at any cost? More Deshaun Watson development? Or multiple Myles Garrett sacks? Let me know in the comment section. Got my Brian Sipe 1980 Cardiac Kids jersey. Okay, we're putting good vibes out there. Let's see what we can do. Very beatable. We just need smart coaching, which we haven't been getting. We need in-game adjustments, which we haven't been getting. Once in a while, the Browns pop up, and they've been getting good at taking out or getting close to taking out their division rivals. So let's see. I think the Browns win it 17-14, and they start kicking some field goals at First Energy Stadium. Let's hope we have a victory, I guess, Sunday, because they play Saturday. There you go. Thank you very much to Melissa Kibb from Baltimore, giving us the Ravens side of thing. Get your Betfred Sportsbook bets in. Hashtag Ask Andy for any fantasy football question. Let's go beat those Raptors. Go Browns.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.